Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch table. My name is Evan. Today, I'm joined with Weave, Joel, and Nick. And today, we're doing part 2 of our season predictions. We're doing the AFC side of things now. So if you haven't checked out the NFC predictions, make sure to go do that because it's pretty good. We're gonna. Without further ado, we're gonna hop right into it here. Starting off with the AFC North. Joel, we're gonna flip it to you. What is your AFC North?
All right, we're going to start off with a bang here. I got the Browns going 13-4.
What? I'm just kidding. I was going to say, dude, there's no way that's real.
I have the Browns going to the Super Bowl.
There's no way.
Now for my actual prediction. I have the Bengals going 13-4.
Okay.
I think, this calf strain's going to linger for a little bit, and it could impact the beginning of the season. But I think they made moves in the offseason to really solidify and help out that offensive line big time for Burrow. You brought back, you got a lot of the same supporting cast. You're looking at a team that's could be as dominant, if not even more, in my opinion. The defense is going to be amazing. Miles Murphy's a stud. Jordan Battle, DJ Turner, even Ivy's been looking good too. I think that team is primed. I know they're going to be missing 2 of their better veterans that had huge impacts, Jesse Bates, Von Bell. But I think this team is due for a good run, and I think 13-4 is a good start for them with how we have it down. Ravens, I have going 11-6. Again, I think Lamar is going to have a very, very good year. Finally getting some weapons in Zay Flowers. I mean, you had Mark Andrews, but getting guys like Odell and Zay Flowers to go on the outside is going to open things up so much more for him. And even his rushing ability, I think it's going to, under new offensive coordinator, new plays, and not new playbook, I think that's going to make a huge impact, and I love their defense too. Roquan Smith's a stud. My voice is about ready to go. Marlon Humphreys is a stud. They have so much talent. I have them going 11-6. Steelers going 9-8. Another season, Mike Tomlin takes them over 500. I just don't, as we've stated, the AFC is just insane. I don't know how you cannot. I don't see. They would have to have an 11-6 season this year with Kenny Pickett to make it. Their defense is amazing. I love their defense so much. And honestly, we've talked about this on our draft podcast. This team had the best draft in the entire class, in my opinion. It was unreal what they did, the value they got and everything like that. And I think that's going to translate this year. I think it's not going to be to the level that they need it to be right now. But, even in the next year, I think it's going to get there. And then finally, Browns. It came down to the last game between Steelers and Browns, and I have Browns going 8-9. I think that's going to be a better season, but it's just so difficult when you play the NFC North. The AFC North, the amount that you do. They very well could have a winning record this year. It would not surprise me at all. But I'm interested to see what Deshaun Watson will do this year. Amari Cooper's there. You could bring in Elijah Moore. Even they killed the draft too. I'm a big draft guy.
They had a good offseason.
I
don't know about draft, but they had a great offseason.
Solid
from
draft.
where they were at.
They didn't pick till the 3rd round, so they did pretty well with that.
From where they were at, with what they had, I felt like they did very well, in my opinion. So I have Bengals 13-4, Ravens 11-6, Steelers 9-8, and the Browns 8-9, with the Bengals and Ravens making the playoffs.
Okay. So I got I have the Bengals here winning the division for the 3rd straight year. I have them going 14-3. That's some high praise. I think they're going to be really good. It's one more game than what he said. Really. I think they're gonna be really good this year. I think that until what?
Just the way you said that.
Come on, really.
Honestly, that's some high praise.
That's some high praise. It was just one more game, really.
Okay. Anyways,
Continue.
I think until Joe Burrow went and strained his calf, I think he was having his best offseason that he's ever had. I think he was looking really good. We got the headband Joe. It's going to make a difference. That's a joke.
It has nothing to do with that.
No, but seriously though, I think Joe Burrow was looking really good in the preseason before he went and did something to his foot or ankle, calf, whatever. And then obviously, like you touched on, they're returning pretty much all their impact players. I mean, they lost Bates and Bell. I knew Bates was leaving. Bell was kind of the sucker punch.
It was nice they got Pratt back then.
Yeah, Pratt was huge.
With that turnaround.
Logan Wilson re-signing was massive. That was huge.
I didn't expect that.
That was huge.
They're paying Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson combined for Roquan Smith.
Yeah,
Yes.
That is huge. So, that's big. And then, Von Bell is a bit of a sucker punch, but I think we got guys in place for that. Dak Sale is going to be really good. Jesse Bates, whatever. Hayden Hurst was another kind of sucker punch, but
I didn't think he would be there.
I didn't think he would leave personally, but
you didn't?
I didn't think he was going to leave.
I had a feeling he would leave.
I mean, that's another one of those things that's like I'm not heartbroken about it. Irv Smith is, I think a solid option. He is more athletic. Better. Yeah, he's an unproven guy, but I think he's got more higher ceiling.
He's been hurt.
But yeah, so I will say though, with the whole calf strain issue, like you mentioned how that might linger into the season a little bit. As a disclaimer, I do have the Bengals starting out 0-2. I have them losing to the Browns.
Flaming me for that the other day.
I have them losing to the Browns week 1 and the Ravens week 2.
They're going to win 14 of 15
to end the season.
Yeah.
Yes,
and they play the Bills. They play
I have them losing to the Browns week 1, the Ravens week 2, and then I have them losing, I think, out of the bye week to the 49ers. And then other than that, I have them winning the rest of the season.
Gotcha.
I think that's bold to say running through the Bills and the Chiefs.
It's
like
possible.
I think it's like I think it is like a bold-ish take, but I personally think it is 100% realistic and completely doable.
It is.
I mean, Joe Burrow is 3 for 4 against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He is 100% capable of beating him again, and he hasn't lost to Josh Allen either. I'm less scared of the Bills than I am the Chiefs, personally. So that's what I got for the Bengals. 14-3, winning the division. I got the Ravens coming in at 2. I have them at 10-7. I mean, that's still a great record. It's a winning record, but I mean, you guys know everything I think about the Ravens. But I do think that they got some surrounding talent around Lamar. So I think that I think Lamar will have the best season he's had since his MVP season. I don't see him I don't see him winning the MVP, but I do think he will be the best that he's been since he's won the MVP this year.
Do you think he has the potential this year to have a better season than his MVP season?
No.
Do you think there's potential for it?
Technically.
I mean, there's always potential.
Do you think it can happen?
Realistically?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
But I mean, he could still have a really good year.
He was, yeah, exactly.
Combined for
I think he'll be really
That's
good.
what I'm saying is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
He was like a unanimous MVP. No, he's not doing that again. I mean, there's always potential, but it's not going to happen. I think he'll be a good like top 10 quarterback, and I think we'll see him closest to his MVP form. But I mean, you all know my Ravens and Lamar take. I don't need to go any further. So 10-7, second in the division. I got the Steelers here at 3. I have them at 9-8, just like you said. Mike Tomlin's going to do it for who knows why or how, but he'll do it.
Some black magic.
Yeah. Okay. But yes.
Can we say that?
And
Oh wait, I just realized.
yeah. Anyways, He'll whip something out of his butt. They'll go 9-8. Kenny Pickett will be improved. I'm excited to see what George Pickens can do. Their defense is nasty. Obviously, T.J. Watt is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. It's a tough division. All four of these teams are stout defensively. It's a really tough division to play in. It's probably the best division in the NFL, I would say, personally.
The fact that they got Joey Porter Jr., too, coming in.
Did you see how bad he's been in camp, though?
I have not. I haven't.
He can't make an open field tackle.
Yeah, you sent me that.
I didn't know it was that bad.
It's preseason. Like, we said Jamar Chase couldn't catch a football in preseason, so I'm not overreacting. But
you did show me that video.
Well, yes, but in videos I've seen, like they're doing what's the drill? Where you have like a line, the running, like you just run at the running back, and he does a juke. He's getting juked out of his shoes. So I sent him a tweet. It was Jamar Chase on an open screen is cooking this guy, and the guy caught a screen.
Yeah,
boom. It was probably some rando.
Probably. But closing out the division, I mean, obviously, I've got the Browns last, 4th place, but I have them going 7-10. I don't foresee them really doing anything special, even with Deshaun Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson's really that good anymore. He was with the Texans. I don't think he's got it anymore, personally. I think the Browns on paper have a great roster, but I just don't. It's the Browns. Like, I don't think they're going to realize that, you know.
It's so tough though with that because, like, honestly, like, I can see both ways. I could see Deshaun Watson, obviously, like we said, there's potential for everything, but I could see him taking a step, like using those games last year as basically warm up. I could see him elevating himself again, but then I could also see him completely
being terrible and or the same, if not slightly better.
Yeah.
What I see is I see him like slightly better than he was last year, but I don't know if I see him returning to his Texans form. I mean, honestly, 7-10. That's not hateful. You put them in the NFC, they have a winning record. Like I said, they're even the Browns are a tough team. I just don't think they compete with the Bengals or some of these other top tier teams in the.
I still think they could potentially knock one off on the Bengals. They
which is what I just said is going to probably happen. I have them winning the opening game.
That is too.
Yeah. So that's my AFC, or that's my North.
All right, I got the Bengals winning the division 13-4. I agree. I think the Bengals are going to drop that first game against the Browns. Hopefully, Burrow is fully healthy by then with his calf strain. It's all odds are looking like it will be. It will be fine by week 1. So, and I feel like the Bengals usually get off to a slower start, and then once they hit in their stride, they pick it up exactly like they did last year.
Their starters need to play in the preseason this year.
Yeah,
I don't.
They never have them do that. I understand why they don't, but like I think it's important to get a little bit of reps, considering how terrible they came out at the beginning of the season last year.
Players that are not superstars play. You can't risk like a Jamar Chase going off the season.
But like, just look at how horrible they looked in the first 2 games last year. Like, they can't. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I have them losing the first 2 again. But I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen. But like,
But I mean, you got Burrow, who, yes, he's had his injuries in the offseason, but come regular season, he's completely healthy, and he's going to be an MVP candidate. You got Jamar Chase is one of the best receivers. T. Higgins, one of the best receivers. I mean, you got Joe Mixon, who I think can have an underrated, really good year this year. Everyone's kind of counting him out. The defense, I think, is going to be the best that we've seen in during this 2 or 3 year stretch.
Longer than that, probably.
Well, 2 year stretch of the Bengals being like a very good football team.
Yeah.
And so I think they have a complete team. I think they can put it all together, and I got them winning the division at 13-4. The Ravens, I have them second with an 11-6 record. I think Lamar is going to play better. I think he's going to play how play as good as he has since winning the MVP. I don't think he's going to win the MVP, but I think he's going to be really good. They finally got some weapons around him. You brought in Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman's still there. You got Odell, who is old but still something. Obviously, so have Mark Andrews. That defense is still always going to be really good. I think that the Ravens are they're going to be right there with the Bengals. The Steelers, I have them 9-8, third in the division. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, no matter what team he puts out. I think Kenny Pickett's going to take a step. I liked what I saw from him towards the end of last year. George Pickens has been really good. Deontay Johnson's good. I think Najee Harris with a healthy season is going to be better. So I think the Steelers are going to be really good too. I mean, obviously they have that great defense. First game they played the Bengals week 1. I mean, T.J. Watt had his way with the Bengals. So he's going to do that with every team. So, and then fourth I got the Browns with going 7-10. I like Amari Cooper. I like Nick Chubb. They have a really great O-line. I just don't see Deshaun Watson. I see him being a lot better than he was last year, because obviously he hadn't played organized football in a year and a half roughly. But I still think just the way that this division is, it's going to be tough for them to win games against. Because
their defense is going to be nuts, though.
Yeah, their defense is their defense is always great. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, every single team in the AFC North's defense is really good. So
it's a tough division to play.
So I feel like if you don't have an elite quarterback or really good weapons, it's going to be tough for you to get some games. But I think 7-10 is still pretty good, not bad. So Browns finishing last.
Well, I didn't like Myles Garrett was the Darius Smith across from him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's something that's terrifying.
Yeah, their defense is just.
Oh my gosh!
All right.
Go ahead.
My AFC North. Thank you, Weaver. My AFC North. I have the Bengals winning the division as well.
Shocking.
I have them 11-6.
Okay, there it is.
Their secondary concerns me. It does. It's not the fact that it's bad. It's the fact that it's very unproven. And like we said with the Vikings in the last one, if you watch that, the Vikings secondary is not good. In the NFC, it doesn't really matter. In the AFC, it does. In the AFC, it absolutely does matter. You have to have a good secondary.
They have
Cheeto, Cam Taylor-Britt.
He is.
Chidobe Awuzie should be good.
Done.
And Cam Taylor-Britt's all right, but their safety.
He is more than Cam Taylor-Britt is more than all right, dude.
Nick Scott and Dax Hill.
Yeah.
Dax Scott's good. Nick Scott.
But definitely the safeties are very good.
I agree with you on the safeties. Cam Taylor-Britt is a monster.
And Mike Hilton.
Mike Hilton's very proven.
But yes, the rest of them.
Chidobe Awuzie, ACL. So yes, I see that.
Their secondary concerns me a little bit. I think that's the only real question mark with this team, though. Their O-lines.
I was gonna say there's always the offensive line, but
they did what they could to fix it with Orlando Brown.
I think they may have actually sewed it up to be at least a competent line by getting Orlando Brown.
The thing with this entire division is they're going to cannibalize each other because they always do. Yeah. Like the Bengals went 3-3 division last year. They lost one game outside of the division. That was to the Cowboys in week 2.
Yeah.
But this division is the best division in football this season, I think, top to bottom. They are going to run rampant outside of inter-division games.
Bengals?
Yeah. Every single team in this division. Yeah. So I have the Bengals at 11-6. They're gonna. I think I have them splitting with every single team in the division again, like they did last year, just because they always do.
I have them splitting with the Ravens.
Yeah. And then the Bengals schedule is naturally tougher because they won the division. They're going to play a bunch of other division winners.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to beat all of them. But they're gonna dominate the lowly teams. Joe Burrow's the top 2 quarterback in the league. They have the best receiving core in the league. Underrated defense. They should win the division barring major injury. Second place, I have the Ravens. I also have them 11-6, just because their schedule is a little easier. But the Bengals do win on tiebreaker. I don't know if it was head-to-head record or interconference record that the Bengals went through on tiebreaker. But Lamar finally has receiving help, and also a change in offensive coordinator to a guy that actually likes to throw the football.
Who's your OC?
He was from Georgia.
Let me look this up.
I didn't know they got a new
I can't remember his name.
They did.
Yes. Tom Monken, that's it.
That's why there's all this hype around Lamar again.
Yeah, because they had Tom Monken when he was at Georgia, I think it was, actually pushed the ball down the field. Yeah. And the Ravens don't have fantastic receivers, but they have a lot better receivers than what they currently did a year ago.
Yeah.
And, Lamar is a competent thrower. Is he great? No. Is he good enough? Yes.
Absolutely.
Pretty good.
So yeah, I mean their defense is still stacked. John Harbaugh is a great head coach. I mean, barring injury, they should win 11 games, I think. Third place, I have the Steelers. I also have them 9-8. I think we all have the same reason, and if last year was not a losing season, they will not have one under Mike Tomlin. It won't happen.
I agree.
That was the worst Steelers team in 20 years, and they still won 9 games.
Even with
they were this
I
close.
genuinely don't understand how
They
won
were
that.
this close to having me buy a TJ Watt jersey and hanging in my room for a year. They
I-
were this close to making the playoffs.
I don't understand how they won 9 games last year. I have no clue.
Well, and they're taking big games against like the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like
The Bengals in week 1. Like,
Bengals week 1, Ravens, and they compete with teams like I think they were competing with the Chargers
Yeah.
too like, early
They
in the
were.
season.
Their defense.
yeah, their defense is. But their pass defense wasn't. It's just their front 7 is so unbelievably like crazy that it
Highsmith.
doesn't matter.
You got Highsmith, Hayward,
What?
Watt. I'm just trying to name guys we haven't talked about.
It's not
They
okay.
had like a white linebacker. They had Miles Jack.
They had
They
Miles
did,
Jack,
yeah.
and he almost became a plumber.
Yeah, and then
He's
he
on the
won
Eagles now.
I don't know. I'm so sick of this team being a winning record and always being right there because they're not going to make any noise in this conference right now. Like I can see,
But they're still going to have a winning record.
yeah,
They'll always be peeking through.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett's going to take a step. They're always going to cause every team they play massive fits because of their system and their culture.
These
But
are just the guys that you're just like, man, like these. Give them the
They
finger.
don't ever
man.
go
Like,
away.
These guys suck, man. Like,
Give him the finger, man.
like they aren't great, but they're just annoyingly good enough.
Yeah.
Give him the finger. Man.
But yeah, the Steelers are going to go 9-8. Their roster is good, especially defensively. They had a great draft. Mike Tomlin's the best head coach, one of the best in the league. I don't care what anyone says. Fourth place, I have the Browns. I have them going 9-8 as well. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be massively improved from last year. It's just the AFC is too good. Like every other, Deshaun Watson, I think is going to be massively improved, and he might not even be like a top 8 quarterback in the conference. Like that's
No,
how,
he won't be.
That's how good the AFC is right now. But their defense is loaded. I could very well see the Browns making the playoffs like this season. That's not even a joke. If Deshaun Watson plays like I know he can play, the Browns could absolutely be a playoff team. But I don't have a ton of confidence. I have the least amount of confidence in the Browns compared to the rest of the teams in the division.
I would certainly hope so.
So that is why I have them at 9-8. But all these teams are 2 games apart from each other, based on my predictions. So this division can go any way. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to win it, but I think any other team has the capability to win.
I think
You think the Browns have more chance than the Steelers?
Absolutely.
there's more upside.
They have a better overall.
Yeah.
The Browns have more upside to make that happen than the Steelers, in my opinion.
If Deshaun Watson plays well, they absolutely could win the division. That's not even like.
Now,
Crazy
not on
to
the level
say.
of a Super Bowl. Shout out Lucas,
Yeah, I don't know about Super Bowl, but
but I could see potential. Like
they could win the division. And
they
make
got a
some noise.
defense that can shut down.
If they could win a playoff game with Baker Mayfield with this
What do you
roster,
think? What do you think they could do with Deshaun?
yeah,
7 and 10.
fair enough, I guess.
Obviously, that is right. You did say 7 and 10. All right.
All right, Nick, we're going to throw it back to you because it's your AFC South,
my
your
AFC
Colts.
South, second worst division in football, but at least they have a good team in here.
They do.
They're not the worst.
Yeah, they're not the worst anymore. That good team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them going 10-7, winning the division. I think they're the best team in the division, and it's not close. I think their team is still kind of young, so it's gonna take them a little bit to get going. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a stud. 10-7.
10 and 7.
He's
10-7.
a dog.
Trevor Lawrence is a stud. Their defense concerns me a little bit, but I think that offense is going to be good enough to make up for some of its flaws early in the year. I mean, Doug Peterson's a Super Bowl winning head coach. The addition of Calvin Ridley is going to do wonders. He has been balling in training camp. Like, absolutely insane. But, yeah, I think the Jags, they might have a tough time beating some of the better teams outside of the conference initially. But they're going to be here. They should absolutely win the AFC South every year for the next 4 or 5 seasons at least. Second place, I have the Titans at 7-10. Their roster was wrecked by injuries, but even before that, I didn't think it was that good. And the addition of D-Hop doesn't move me when Ryan Tannehill's throwing him the football. So, and Derrick Henry's approaching that age, 30, where running backs kind of fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Do you think we potentially see Will Levis this year?
Maybe a little bit.
If the
We'll see
Titans
Malik
start
Willis,
like
but
3
not
and
Will
8,
Levis.
hasn't Malik Willis been outperforming Levis in training camp?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll probably see Malik. But I
More
don't
Malik
think.
than anything.
Yeah, I don't think Will Levis is going.
It just seemed like with them taking Will Levis,
Well, I think that's what they were trying to do, but then Malik actually started playing better.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, there was
firing
reports that Malik was outperforming him, and there was still a chance he could get cut.
Yeah,
so
because, like...
I don't know. The Titans are kind of a mess.
Yeah,
right
the
now.
Titans are kind of a mess right now. Mike Vrabel is about the only redeeming factor they have outside of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
D-Hop hasn't played a full season in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Plus he's aging.
Yeah. He's kind of at that twilight of his career, and Tennessee's the place where good wide receivers go to die.
Yep.
They are getting a new stadium though, which looks pretty
Yeah, it
sick.
looks
It's
sick.
really cool
Sick.
stadium.
That looks so sweet.
The heart of Nashville.
But yeah,
Nashville.
the Titans are in kind of a tough spot right now. I just don't think they're very
Nashville
good.
purgatory.
Yeah. Third place, I have the Texans at 6-11. Their roster is still bad, but they're making some steps to go somewhere with C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, D'Amico Ryan's their head coach. I think that was the best head coaching hire of the offseason.
Yeah.
Derek Stingley's a good corner. Dameon Pierce is a decent running back. But, I mean, the rest of their roster is not good.
Yeah.
There's a reason they were the worst team in the league last year. That's including the Bears. But the Bears had the tiebreaker, yada, yada, yada.
It's because the Colts lost.
Yeah, they...
Thank the Colts.
Hey, listen, we got Anthony Richardson.
That's
So
all
I'm
I
okay
care.
with that. And then last place, I have the Colts at 4-13. This was I had them at like 5-12 or 6-11, and then our best player decided that he was going to request a trade, which is fair because Jim Irsay would rather pay a whale to go back into the ocean and die because it's been in captivity for God knows how long than our best offensive player in our whole offense. The way this organization has been run into the ground the past 2 years is something
It's impressive.
I
It really
haven't
is.
seen in a sport in a long time. Like, I'm being so serious.
Dude,
when say that.
I picked these guys to win the division last season.
Listen to me.
And they just were
After
awful.
Christmas Day 2021, after they went to Arizona and beat the Cardinals and really just kind of suffocated them the whole game, I want you all to answer this right now. Would you all have wanted to play the Colts in the playoffs?
After playing the Cardinals,
After that game, when they were 9-6 and won 8 of 10, and Jonathan Taylor was getting legitimate MVP consideration.
Yeah, that was
probably not because
They were hot.
Yeah,
They were hot.
they were
And-
matched up with the Bengals in the first round that week.
Yeah.
That would have been one hell of a game if
Yeah.
they played each other. Because the teams like the Colts are designed to beat teams like the Bengals. They keep the ball, they get first downs on the run, and keep Joe Burrow off the field.
Yeah.
Facts.
But it wouldn't have happened, but yes.
Yes. And then they lose to the Jags, who are the worst team
They
in
were
the NFL.
putrid that
That
year.
is Carson Wentz's. That is the reason Carson Wentz is a free agent. Is that game right there?
Of him wearing like
Yeah.
Eagles helmet, Commander jersey, Colt shorts.
That was hilarious.
That game
He's
is
trying to market himself.
That was humorous
so
to me.
it is kind of understated how big of a collapse that is.
That was bad.
That is one of the biggest chokes I've seen in NFL history. That's not even an exaggeration at all. So then, this year, we get a former MVP in Matt Ryan, and we're like, okay, all he has to do is not
Suck.
blow up in the worst possible moments. And
He did just
blow up is being nice. He was a actual fossil. He was a tree. He got no help by the fact that our offensive line went from a blue wall with Phillip Rivers to a pretty, like a top 10 unit in the league in 2021 with Jonathan Taylor
Yeah.
to literally the worst in the league for a vast majority of last season. And then you factor in the fact that Shaq Leonard played 2 games. Jonathan Taylor missed half the season. We fired our head coach midseason and replaced him with a reporter.
Saturday. You brought in Jeff Saturday.
That's when I knew they threw the white flag.
They put a reporter at that.
That's when I knew they threw the white flag.
They brought a literal ESPN analyst who has no coaching experience ever. Not a single ounce of it.
As the head football coach.
They win 1 game the rest of the year.
The first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, they beat the Raiders the week after, and then they lost the rest of the game. They lost. I think they lost to the Eagles the week after, which is like, yeah, that's fine. They were actually winning most of that game. They lose to the worst Steelers team in 2 decades.
I have that from your story screenshotted. I have that still.
That's
It's
hilarious.
Oh, it's hilarious.
The worst Steelers team in 2 decades on Monday Night Football. Then they get outscored 33-0 in the fourth quarter on national TV against the Cowboys. Then they have a bye week, and I'm like, okay, 1 week of no pain.
That Cowboys game was terrible.
It was 21-19 going to the fourth. They lost 54-19.
They looked like I'm sorry, they looked like the most incompetent team. Like they looked worse than the
What
Texans.
happened?
They looked like the most incompetent team I've
They
ever
have
seen.
a bye week. I think I get 1 painless week. Then they go on national TV again and have the biggest collapse in NFL history.
Weren't they the team that...
They're the Vikings.
Then the week after, they play the Chargers on Monday night with Nick
I was
Foles,
at that game.
Nick Foles at quarterback,
Oh my god.
and score 3 points.
That was an awful game.
That game was, dude. The Chargers were terrible, but they were better than
And
the
then
Colts somehow.
the week after that, they play the Giants, and Kayvon Thibodeau is doing snow angels while Nick Foles is writhing in pain, and no one helps him up. And then, final week of the year, they play the worst team in football. They're up 31-24 with like 20 seconds left. Then Davis Mills throws a Hail Mary from the opposite 45-yard line. It gets caught, and then they give up a 2-point conversion. You want to know something else that happened in that game?
Davis
You want to know something else that
Mills.
happened in that game? In the first half, it was like a 4th and goal at the 2-yard line, right? They were up by like 4.
Yeah.
So he sent out the field goal unit. The crowd starts booing them.
Yeah.
So Jeff Saturday calls a timeout, then puts the offense in on 4th and goal to go for it, and they don't get it! They get stuff!
Couldn't it, if you lost that game, you could have had like a top.
No, we did lose that game.
Or never mind. It was the Texans.
Yeah, the Texans would have had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, with
If they lost that game.
Lovie Smith
And they
said,
won.
"Screw you guys."
Yeah, he
He
did.
gave the biggest middle finger to the Texans organization.
That was hilarious.
He's like, I know I'm only in here for
And
1
then
year.
the offseason comes around, and the Colts knock the draft out of the park. All of you have agreed with this,
Yeah.
right? They had a fantastic draft.
Yeah,
I'm
good
like,
draft.
it might be starting to look up. You know, Anthony Richardson, like that 1-2 punch of Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, maybe an improved O-line. And then Jim Irsay decides to be the worst owner in the league now that Dan Snyder's gone, and says that he just flat out won't pay running backs, even though the running back is your entire offense. So then our best player requests a trade, and now we're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. with the 2nd overall pick. That's just what's going to happen. We're going to have Marvin Harrison Jr., and you all are going to
I hope not.
cry. Oh, yeah, it's happening. If we have a top 5 pick, Jim Irsay is going to move mountains to get Marvin Harrison. He will trade 2 first-rounders just so he can have a son of a former Colt on his team.
I
And
honestly,
pair with Anthony Richardson.
honestly, I could
yeah.
I could see that. I really.
That's a
I
real
could-
thing that could happen.
That's probably not a bad trade, honestly.
I mean, they're terrible anyways. Why
Marvin
not? Might
Harrison's
as
one of
well.
the best receivers we've ever seen
seen.
come out of college.
Are you okay?
Does that close it?
Hey, it can only get up from here.
Can it? Because right
How
now,
many games did they win last year?
It can only get up from
I don't see the
your
Colts
last
ever
like
winning,
8-week
like, 3
stretch
games.
last season.
Well-
That last 8-week stretch of the season last year was they were
the only
the
thing
worst football team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're really
they weren't that bad.
I thought they were worse than the
They were the
Texans.
worst in the league.
They
I
were
thought
the
they were
worst
worse
in
than
the
the
league, but
Texans.
they weren't the worst team of all time.
The only thing that can be bad is
I have the Cardinals.
Anthony Richardson becomes a bust. And that.
Well, yeah, this entire administration bought themselves like 3 years of time with drafting Anthony Richardson. Because Anthony Richardson is more than likely going to be terrible this season. This
season, yeah.
This season, he's more than likely going to be awful. He's going to be. He hasn't been performing like crazy in training camp. He's been like as expected, which is like big highs and really low lows.
Yeah.
But like this, it's just not a good team. They gave me a lot of pain last year, and they haven't given me any reason to prove that they're going to improve at all.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
4-13. I hope they go 4-13. I want Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be so sick if we got him.
That would be really cool.
Yeah,
Are you happy you got your 15 minutes spiel out?
Was it 15?
Yes.
That's my bad.
Right. It was bound to happen between the Bengals and the Colts. It was one.
It was one of them.
One of them was going
I
to go.
haven't gone on a tangent like that.
No, you haven't. It was very. It was
I honestly
very.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
It was very interesting.
Anyways, though, who's next?
Who's next? Me. All right. I got the Jags winning the division, going 12-5. I think the Jags will be really good this year. They were good. They were good last year. They won a playoff game. I think Trevor Lawrence in his second season with Doug Peterson is going to only get better. I really like them getting Calvin Ridley. He's been really good during training camp. Christian Kirk is also really good. He was phenomenal last year, and I feel like he's going to do that again. And then you also got Travis Etienne there, who has been really good as well. So as long as he can stay healthy, I think the Jags are poised to make a run, and I think this is the year that they do it. Then I have the Titans second, going 8-9. The Titans are always just that team where they're never good, but they're never like horrible. Like Ryan Tannehill's awful. We all know that.
He's pretty bad now.
Yeah, but like I can still see this team. Like, I mean, 8 games is not horrible. But I mean, you got Derrick Henry, who he's aging and he's getting into his 30s, but I mean he's still a workhorse back.
Still performing. You
got Traylon Burks in there, who should have a healthy season. Hopefully, he can kind of get things going. Then you brought in D-Hop. That defense saw some pieces. Yeah, the Titans are not good, but they're kind of in that weird middle area. So I got them going 8-9. Then I have the Texans finishing third, going 4-13. Yes, they got C.J. Stroud, and I really like C.J. Stroud, but I think it's going to be they need a lot more for this team to start compiling wins. Stroud is a very accurate quarterback, but he does still have some questions, so we'll see how he does. I love them getting Will Anderson. They've been building that team. Dameon Pierce, I don't think he's going to have as good as a season as he did last year, but they're getting somewhere. They're looking better every day, every single year. I love the D'Amico Ryans hire, but they're just not there yet. So I have them going 4-13. Then last place I have the Colts, also going 4-13. I mean, I
don't think we need to talk about that anymore.
It pretty much
covered the Colts.
It pretty much said everything. I mean, Anthony Richardson could be good later, but this year is not going to be that year.
This isn't going to be the year that defines him.
Hey, you could be the 0-17 Cardinals.
At least we have some bright spots on our team. Our defense could still be solid this year.
So
They still have DeForest Buckner, right?
Zach Leonard, if he plays.
Leonard.
So the South. I have the
So aggressive.
I have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division, and I have them going 13-4. I think the Jags are going to be a really good football team. I think they made significant strides last year. They almost beat the dang Chiefs.
Pretty close.
I am high on the Jags. I think Trevor Lawrence is a stud. I really like Trevor Lawrence. Calvin Ridley has been unreal in training camp. So they got him a solidified wide receiver 1, and they pair it with Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and the guys they ran with last year. Essentially, yeah, it's a solid core. I mean, it's not the it's not
the Bengals or the Dolphins,
but it's a solid core. Yeah. Like Calvin Ridley is a mid to slightly above mid-tier wide receiver 1 in the NFL. I would say
really good.
His last healthy season, he had over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, 13 touchdowns or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, I like this Jags team. I don't. Well, we'll get to that later. 13-4, they take the division. I think they're going to be a really good team this year. So second in the division, I have the Titans going 7-10. I don't think the Titans are very good. Derrick Henry is, pretty much. I think they have a pretty stout defense. But I think other than that, stout defense, I think Derrick Henry is really about all they got. You take away Derrick Henry, I don't think that they even win 7 games, honestly. Ryan Tannehill is terrible. Malik Willis is,
even worse.
not much better.
Oh, no.
And Will
never
Levis
stopped
is
him.
god-awful as well. So, I don't think the Titans are very good, but I think they're going to squeak out 7 wins, just because I feel like they always seem to do that. They seem.
Mike Vrabel's a good enough.
Mike Vrabel is a great coach, and Derrick Henry is still a good enough player to play at that level, I think. He hasn't shown really any signs of slowing down except for the foot injury. But we'll see. So, and then at third place in the division, I got the Colts here at third, and I got them going 5-12. So I've got them 1 game above.
What an improvement.
Yeah. I got him going 5-12. You hit on it. Anthony Richardson, he's just so dang raw. He has a spectacularly high ceiling, and he's not going to reach it this year. Their owner is probably the worst owner in the league. That franchise, as of this moment, is kind of a dumpster fire.
Can't even disagree with that.
Kinda.
Well, it could
it's
be
a bit of a
worse.
mess.
It could be worse. And
It could be the 0-16
You could be the 0-17 Cardinals.
Or
But-
it could be organization run by Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
The Commanders.
Well, now that the gap between Jim Irsay and Dan Snyder was substantial, but now that Dan Snyder's gone, it's
He's the worst.
yeah, he's one of, if not the worst.
Yeah. So I got the Colts there at 5-12. They're going to get a top 5 pick again, probably. And then tying for it's not going to be a tie, but I have the Texans going 5-12 as well, which is an improvement for the Texans. I think the Texans are honestly going in a very good direction. I've said this since they drafted Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud. And honestly, even since they hired DeMarco, I loved that hire. I thought that was a great hire. I really like that hire a lot. I think the Texans are heading in a very good direction, but this year it's still going to be some bumps to get over. They go 5-12. They probably get a top 5 pick again, which is good for them, honestly.
They don't have it.
What?
They traded it away to the Cardinals for the Will Anderson.
It's true.
Yeah.
Cardinals have 2 picks.
It's true. Never mind then.
There's potential they could have the top 2 picks.
They have 1 and 2. They could walk away with the draft with Marvin Harrison.
Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh my! Talk about a rebuild.
That's an instant A+ draft.
I low key kind of hope that happens though. For
No!
the Cardinals.
I want Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said
Huh.
with the Texans.
Oh, I'm done. You can start yours now.
Okay,
That's it for
well,
me.
I'm just gonna say it right now. Texans are at the bottom of mine. I have them going 4-13. So, I think they've made a lot of leaps and bounds even before hiring.
I like Stroud a
D'Amico.
lot. I really do.
I even before this draft,
Yeah.
they've made strides. Going out, you got your CB1, Derek Stingley.
Yeah.
Love Derek Stingley
Yeah.
and John Mechie, stuff like that.
They've got pieces.
They're making so many leaps and bounds. You bring in not a proven, but a steady guy like a Dalton Schultz. I think that's a big thing to help build a culture, and I feel like that's an important thing with what D'Amico Ryan's trying to do too. But yeah, they're the last in the South, not the Colts for me. But
Same, brother.
I just think you all are wrong. But
I would be nice to your team right now.
I got the Jags going 11-6. You guys have pointed it out. This team is. I have high hopes for them this year. I don't think any other team in this division competes, but I think overall the Jags, top to bottom, are the best team in this division. Trevor Lawrence is going to keep making strides to prove why he was one of the best talents to come out of.
Could we see Trevor Lawrence enter into the top 5 this year?
Absolutely.
I could see
I
that.
think so too.
I could see him, depending on how this.
You know what I say about that, right? Yeah.
I'm going to have a quick hot take. I could see Trevor Lawrence in the MVP conversation this year.
I could too. If the Jags go 13-4 something, because their schedule is so incredibly easy.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence could absolutely be in the MVP conversation.
I mean, I think that's partially why I had him at 13-4 because I think 13-4 is, I mean, that's a heck of a record. Like
it was so easy.
I don't think the Jags are really that good to go 13-4, but it's like their schedule is just so easy. You know, like I mean, if the Jags were playing the Bengals schedule, they'd be more around 10-7, 11-6 probably.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Evan?
Nothing.
Okay. I got Titans going. 6-11. I just it's a common theme with the rest of these teams. I don't see much. Like Derrick Henry's getting old. D-Hop's not going to be your solution by any means.
That
to
didn't
help
change
your
a
passing game.
Change a thing.
Doesn't
like before
change the fact that Ryan
Super Bowl
Tannehill
odds were the
can't.
exact same.
I mean, I'm very critical of Ryan Tannehill. Like going from that AFC AFC divisional game against the Bengals.
He
They
was
were the 1
terrible.
They were the 1 seed, and he threw how many picks? 3 or 4?
I think he had 4 turnovers. There's 3 picks.
He threw 3 picks. I know that.
But
He
it's
threw a
like-
pick on the first play of the game.
But even it's just like
Since then, he's been horrible.
he's been awful.
That
I
was
don't
kind
even know
that
if
was
Malik
kind
or
of like
Will
the
Levis will help.
that was kind of like the that was when it started. I think
I love Derrick Henry
because
Derrick
before
Henry's-
I feel like before like the Titans like even that year the Titans were one of the worst 1 seeds that I've ever seen. But like I feel like Ryan Tannehill wasn't like
He was serviceable.
like wow he's bad
Very
until that game. You know.
and then I have Colts going 5-12. So that's Jags 11-6, Titans 6-11, Colts 5-12, and then Texans 4-13. So
Who we heading to now? We heading to the
East.
east or the west?
East.
East.
You
and
got
I'll
it.
start it.
We're at 47 right now. So.
Okay. Yep. I'm
You're
gonna.
about to go through a little bit faster here.
Here we go. I got the Jets going 12-5 and taking the division. I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers makes an instant impact because we have talked about teams that are a quarterback away, and this
This team
the Jets
is genuinely a quarterback away.
Jets are the epitome of that statement. Yeah. Rodgers is going to make an instant impact. Garrett Wilson's going to be elevated to elite status. Amen to that. And then this defense, I could see Sauce Gardner being Defensive Player of the Year. I honestly could see it. That defense is nuts, and their offensive line does not get enough credit, in my opinion. When healthy, that's the key thing. When healthy, they aren't that bad. So, yeah, Jets 12-5. I have the Bills also going 12-5. I mean, with Josh Allen on this team, you can't not you can't not count them out. Like this team is just they're always good, especially since him. I think honestly James Cook could have a very big year for them. Finally taking over the role that Devin Singletary had. I think he's going to be a 3-down back, even with Damian Harris coming in. Their defense, get Von Miller back, things like that. Their offensive line still worries me some because it's not the very best, but I still think it's enough to give them 12-5, and I have both of those teams making the playoffs. Dolphins, I have them going 10-7. I think as long as you keep Tua healthy, that this team is going to be competitive for a while, and he's going to get that second contract. But I mean, when you have two of the fastest receivers in the league on the same team, and that have the route running that they do, like it's unreal. And
You can get a 5-yard slant and take it to the house.
Exactly. It's unreal. Now there is a little. I'm a little iffy on their run game because we don't know exactly what that's going to entail.
They have a committee right now.
It's a very
Plus, they still
hefty-
could add Dalvin Cook.
They could. They have a very hefty committee right now, so I don't know about that. But you bring in it was Vic Fangio, right, as their DC.
Yes.
One of the best defensive minds here of late to Dolphins defense that's loaded.
Just
added Jalen.
Just
Jalen
added
Ramsey,
Jalen Ramsey,
who's out for 6 weeks, but still.
But you
He's
still
out till
have
December.
yeah.
Oh, really?
He's up for like
Yeah.
half the season.
But you still have guys like Bradley Chubb's there.
There's still guys
Jalen
there.
Phillips is there. Like
Xavier Howard.
Xavier Howard.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much there.
Yeah.
But I like them going 10-7, but sadly I have them missing the playoffs. And then finally I have the Pats going 7-10. I think it's definitely a better offensive season for them this year. I think Mac Jones will prove that he's a little better than what Zach says.
Doesn't much.
Yeah,
If so, not much.
I think he'll be a better quarterback. I think he'll. I honestly could see them competing with getting closer towards a winning record though too. Because they got an amazing defense. They drafted my guy Christian Gonzalez. I love that dude so much. I think he's amazing, and he's shown a lot in training camp too. So yeah, that's how I have mine. Jets 12-5, Bills 12-5, Dolphins 10-7, Pats 7-10.
My AFC East, I have the Jets at 12-5 as well. Like you said, they're the epitome of a team that's a quarterback away. If Aaron Rodgers plays anywhere near his MVP status, they could win the Super Bowl, and it might not be too difficult for them. Their team is that good.
I don't know if I'd say that.
It's
but,
gonna be. It's really kind of scary.
I don't know if I would say the might not be too difficult for him part.
That's fair. Jets 12-5.
Your point's made.
They have the most balanced roster in the division, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah, that's true.
Second, I have Buffalo. I have them at 11-6. They have the best quarterback in the division right now in Josh Allen.
Yes.
And the rest, Stephon Diggs, arguably best receiver in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Not Tyreek Hill's better, but he's still really good. But the rest of their team kind of concerns me a little bit. Their offensive line, like you said, still is not great. Their running game outside of Josh Allen is still
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen there. Their defense, I think same thing with the Seahawks. I think their players perform better individually than as a unit. So we don't know what's going to happen there. And Sean McDermott, he's a good head coach. I don't have anything bad to say about Sean McDermott. They have the best quarterback in the division. I think that's what's going to get them in the playoffs. In third, I have Miami. I also have them at 10-7. I also have them as the odd team out, missing the playoffs. Tua's health is a legitimate concern. If he gets one more concussion, his career could be over. That's not even an exaggeration at all. My note here is the AFC is too good because if Miami was in the NFC, they could be the one seed.
They could run it.
Yeah. They could genuinely be the one seed with how explosive that offense is. But the AFC just in general is too stacked. I think they're the odd team out in the AFC. And then I have the Patriots at 7-10. They just can't keep up offensively with the rest of the conference. Their defense will beat up on some of the worst teams they're going to play, but even with a new offensive coordinator, their offense just isn't quite good enough. So,
all right. Well, I basically have the same thing you guys said, so I'm not really going to talk too much. I got the Jets winning the division 12-5, Bills second at 12-5. Then I got the Dolphins third, 10-7, just missing the playoffs. Then I have the Patriots going 7-10.
Bam! Right on the money.
So we're basically the same, or we are the same. But I think the Patriots are going to be a little bit better because they actually have a competent offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien. But they still have a lot of holes on offense. Tua, if he can stay healthy, we saw when he's healthy that team is really good. And Tua is a top end quarterback. Jets. Aaron Rodgers completely changed the dynamic of that team. I loved their team last year. We said that they were going to make the playoffs last year, but that didn't happen. But now I feel 100% more confident that that's going to happen. And then the Bills, they've been the top team in the division for a while. Josh Allen is always an MVP candidate, but they do have some holes. So I think, me personally, outside of the AFC North, this is the most competitive division in the NFL.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I would probably agree with that.
There's some very competitive ones in the
So
AFC.
mine is a little bit different than your guys'. So I had a weird. It's a weird division for me. So I've got the Jets also gonna win the division, 12-5. Same reasons everybody said. Aaron Rodgers. I think what's most likely to happen is that we see Aaron Rodgers return to a form that is slightly worse than MVP level, but still
really dang good.
But still a
Top 8.
yes,
Top 7.
absolutely. That's top 7 quarterback in the NFL for sure. I would say. But yes, I like this Jets team a lot. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. I mean, it's going to be nasty. I like this Jets team. So second in the this is where it gets weird, and I'm going off of head to head and just everything else. So second in the division, I got the Bills at 12-5. But it's a head to head type of thing, you know.
Yeah,
I think that's what his was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what yours was
I
too?
think that's what
That's
those
what
two
ours
guys
was.
was.
Ours was the exact same.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I got the Bills going 12-5 as well. Pretty much because of Allen and Diggs. I do see James Cook is an interesting he's an interesting project, though. I think James Cook, because I thought James Cook was going to be good last year, but I do think this is the year he will be good now, especially with Devin Singletary out.
It's always that one. It's like we hype him up for that first year.
Yeah.
And then that second year comes around and you're like, I don't know anymore. And that's when they
Yeah.
break out.
And he did nothing last year, but I think he's going to do something this year, especially with Devin Singletary out. I think that James Cook can fulfill that Devin Singletary hole, and I think he's better than Devin Singletary. So
Definitely.
And then, once again, here we go. I got the Dolphins at 3, 12-5. So I have top three teams.
Tie?
I have a 3-way 12-5. I have all three of those teams make the playoffs for me,
Dang.
and it's a 3-way 12-5.
Dang.
I personally think the Dolphins are going to be better this year than they were last year because I'm assuming Tua is going to stay healthy. And I like the addition of Jalen not Hurts, good lord, Jalen Ramsey.
He's not going to play till like.
I know, but when he comes back, him and Xavier Howard. I mean, that's a lockdown duo
That's
right
a
there.
duo that I don't want to mess with.
But anyways, though, I got 3-way 12-5, but I'm gonna put them in that order though. And then last place in the division, I have the Patriots coming in at 5-12. Mac Jones, I've said it time and time again. I think Mac Jones is terrible, and I don't care that he has more offensive weapons now. He's not a good quarterback. So
His offensive weapons are very minimal.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's got a slot receiver in Juju and Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay, great. They got a good defense. I like the Patriots' defense. The Patriots always have a good defense, so I'm not. The Patriots always have a good defense.
His celebration.
They always have a good defense, so I'm not going to hate on the defense. It's the offense that I don't like at all. I think Mac Jones is bad, and that's the end of the discussion.
All right, you're going to end us off here, starting with the
AFC West.
AFC
I'm ending
West.
us off?
Yep.
Okay.
You're starting us
You're
off.
starting it for the end.
Okay.
Starting for the last division.
So, and I don't think this is going to be a tough division to talk about either. I mean, you got the Chiefs first place, and I have the Chiefs going 13-4. And I
Defending Super Bowl champs.
Patrick
Best
Mahomes.
player
Not
in the
much
league.
else.
defending Super Bowl champs, Patrick Mahomes didn't really lose anybody. That's the end of that. So second place, I have the Chargers coming in at 10-7. I think 10-7 is a pretty realistic / I don't want to say generous, but I think that's like a realistic outcome that the Chargers will have this year. I think that the Chargers organization and Chargers fans alike think that they're better than they are. I think Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but he hasn't proved crap in the playoffs and in tight games.
Have one chance.
And I don't think that his supporting cast is I think that the organization should do more than they do with his supporting cast. I feel like they didn't do
They were all
offensively.
injured last year.
But but what I'm saying is I feel like they should be more I think they should have gotten more. You get what I'm saying?
What?
You said the same thing I have. I think that they should go out and get more. I'm not
I
super.
think they could be better in terms of receivers. They
That's what I'm saying.
I
I don't-
like 2 or 3 of the same guy.
That's what I'm
terms
saying.
of what they did.
That's what I mean. I think they could be more aggressive in getting a better weapon at receiver.
I don't think they
Honestly,
need more. They just need better styled receivers. Mike
You
Williams,
have-
Keenan Allen, and who's their third guy that just drafted?
Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnston. It's
Quentin Johnston could be good.
Keenan
So
Allen's
yeah,
your slot.
Yeah.
Mike Williams is your deep threat,
yeah,
and
Supposed to be.
supposed to be.
Quentin Johnston's your possession guy.
I think Keenan Allen was hurt, but I just feel like these guys could be better than they are. I think I think that the organization and their fans think that they are better than they really are. I think they have a Super Bowl roster right now, and I don't think they do.
I mean, with the moves they made last offseason to get J.C.
Yeah,
Jackson.
I disagree with that.
J.C. Jackson.
Although J.C. Jackson was objectively terrible last year.
Well,
Do you think they have a
started
Super
off
Bowl
the season
roster?
hurt.
Yeah,
I think they have a Super Bowl roster.
I don't think they do.
I think they do.
You've said this.
Khalil,
I was talking. Someone I was talking to said this exact same thing.
well, you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. You have J.C. Jackson.
2 of those 3 guys you just named have kind of underperformed.
Khalil Mack is
recently.
not as good as he once was, and J.C. Jackson was objectively bad.
And Joey Bosa, I think, isn't as good as he
Joey
was
Bosa has
either.
been
The problem with the Chargers is
They're-
all of their players are very injury prone.
That is an issue.
Was it you that said that though? Somebody I was talking to said that they need to be like they aren't as good as they think they are. They should do more.
Continue with the division.
continue.
Yes.
That was the end of that.
Okay.
Like that was my Chargers thing. I think the Chargers are a good team, but I just feel like
So, are the Chargers your odd team out and missing the playoffs this year?
no, I have the Chargers in the playoffs.
Who's the odd team out then?
Should I tell you now, or do you want me to wait?
I'm assuming we've already gone
Yeah,
through it then.
yeah.
Probably already went through. Just
Is
Oh.
it the Ravens?
Yeah, I don't have the Ravens making it
That's wild.
What?
because I have 3 teams. In
I
this.
mean, the AFC's that good. It could happen.
Yeah,
but,
that's why I have I have the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins all making it.
And what was their record?
12-5 for each.
all 3 12 and
No, I meant for the
10 and
Ravens.
7.
10.
10 and 7.
The Chargers went off tiebreaker, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I think I had the Chargers beating the Ravens head to head,
Yeah.
so I think that's why
You
the
guys
Chargers
are
got
gonna
in.
love mine here in a bit.
Right.
But I like the Chargers. I like Justin Herbert. I just feel like I think that they could be a little bit better than they are. Like I think in people's minds they're better than they are. Is what I'm saying. But anyways, though, they're still a playoff team. 3rd place here, I have the Raiders coming in at 6 and 11. I don't really know if the Raiders are going to do much. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, Devontae Adams could be. I don't know. We'll see. I guess. I mean, they got Max Crosby, and I know what you're thinking right now. But yeah, I got the Raiders at 6 and 11. I don't think that they're going to be super special, but I think that I'm interested to see Jimmy G, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Adams. They could be better than 6 and 11, but that's just where I have them falling.
That's okay. Continue.
What?
Nothing.
Okay, you'll get. I got the Broncos I got the Broncos coming in last place at 5 and 12. I realized they got Sean Payton, and I think everybody
You don't think they're going to improve with Sean Payton?
What did they finish last year?
Like 5 and 12.
5 and 12.
was it 5 and 12 last year?
Well, then I'm changing.
I
I have it 5 and 12.
yeah, I think that they could be better, but I mean, I
They
like
very well might not be. I'm just asking.
I like Sean Payton a lot, honestly, but I'm going to be honest, and this is why. Well, one, Tim Patrick tore his Achilles. He's out for the year. I think that's a solid blow. But my main reasoning is I think Russell Wilson is a shell of his old self.
So you think it's because of old age, not because of Nathaniel Hackett being an incompetent head coach?
I think Nathaniel Hackett was completely incompetent, but yes, I do think we are seeing Russell Wilson's decline.
Yeah, just making
I
sure.
think because personally, even in his last year with the Seahawks, we saw him decline.
He was hurt for half the season.
Yeah.
But
He had
still,
like a hand injury.
I know,
It
but
still affected his play. But
it still
he
affected
didn't
his play.
half the year.
And then last year with the Broncos, he was Nathaniel Hackett sucked, but Russell Wilson was really
Russell
terrible.
Wilson was terrible.
Russell Wilson was
he was
awful,
not good last
and
year.
that's not all on the head coach. Like, yeah, the head coach was one of the worst in NFL history, but like Russell Wilson was really
He's
bad.
pretty bad. Yeah.
So and I have said this multiple times that I don't like you can tell with outside of like Brady. Like, you can tell, like, when a top-tier quarterback is reaching the end of their career, you can tell a lot of times because they're, like, they start declining like this, you know? And then they might go, they might bounce to another team, and then they, people think that they're going to resurrect it, but they don't. And I think this is what we're seeing with Russell Wilson. I think we're just seeing the end of his career. So that's what I got.
All right. For me, I have the Chiefs winning the division 13-4. Not much I need to say there. I have the Chargers second, going 11-6. I think this year the only reason they weren't great last year was because of injuries. Keenan Allen was hurt for majority of the season. He had a nagging hand injury. Mike Williams couldn't stay on the field.
Sean Slater was out for the year.
Yeah, Joey Bosa has fair share of injuries. So I think when Herbert has a complete cast, I think that team is really good, and I think that I have them going 11-6, making the playoffs. Third, I have the Raiders going 7-10. The Raiders, they got Jimmy G, who I think Jimmy G's an overrated quarterback, so we'll see how he does without Kyle Shanahan's system. But if Josh Jacobs plays, I still think you get close to the same production that he had last year. Not, I mean, RB1, but I think him and McDaniel's scheme fit well together. And Devontae Adams, you can never count out. He's the best receiver in the NFL. At least top 5. He's just always really good, even with kind of crap quarterback. I still think he'd be fine. You got Max Crosby there, who's a home wrecker on the defensive edge. I think they still have a decent team. I mean, I don't think they're great, but 7-10's I think fine. And then last, I have the Broncos going 6-11. I think Sean Payton's going to help them a lot. But I think, like what you said, Weave, I think we're seeing Russell Wilson's decline. But I still think he's going to have a lot better season than he did last season because he was abysmal last year.
Yeah. So yeah, my AFC West Chiefs at 13-4. My note in my notepad is just Patrick. That's it. That's all you really need to say. Best head coach in the league, best player in the league, best tight end in NFL history. Won the Super Bowl with Kadarius Toney as their wide receiver 1. That's all you really need to know. I've got the Chargers at 11-6. I think this team is too talented to miss the playoffs, barring their entire team getting hurt again. If their entire team gets hurt again this year, I can actually see them missing the playoffs because the AFC is that good. But like you said, Rashawn Slater was out for the whole year. Their entire receiving core missed significant time. Joey Bosa has fair share of injuries. Derwin James can never stay on the field. And Justin Herbert also had broken ribs like the entirety of last season. You remember he took that shot week 2 against Kansas City and he just couldn't move like he could his rookie year. I think that played a bit of a factor. But yeah, 11-6. I have them making the playoffs. Third place, I have Denver. I have them 8-9. I think that Sean Payton will improve that offense substantially, but I do also think that we're kind of seeing like the twilight of Russ. Russ is not going to get back to prime Seattle Russ. But that defense is good enough to win games they shouldn't because of their like safeties and corners. That defense is loaded.
Yeah.
That defense is really good. And then the mile high factor when teams come to play at Denver, it's a lot harder than it usually is. And then I have the Raiders at 3-14.
Wow.
I don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to play.
Yeah, that's a big if.
That's a massive if. And I don't think Jimmy G is a good quarterback. I don't think their head coach is good. They're all flash and no substance, which is kind of the epitome of Vegas.
That's so real. Like, actually.
I don't think they're a good team. And I feel really bad for Devontae Adams because he was first team All-Pro with Derek Carr as his quarterback, and he got zero help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just,
how it is.
Head to head, I just don't trust the Raiders to beat most teams in the league. So 3-14 for them, for me.
Alrighty.
You got something crazy coming up here.
I got Chiefs going 13-4.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes, we've stated
We don't need to talk
we don't
about
need
it.
to talk about it. Denver Broncos going 11-6.
Oh, gosh.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
I honestly,
I'm not entirely surprised by
I'm
that.
not either.
and here's my logic.
I knew by the face you made at me that was what
When you said what? 5-12?
I think I'm a little
Yes.
too low on the Broncos.
I was gonna say when you said 5-12, my mouth dropped.
I think I'm a little bit too low on them too, but
This team's got a lot more on deck than
It's got a lot going for them.
I think they revamped their offensive line, bringing in guys like Ben Powers and everything like that. But I think with a competent head coach in Sean Payton, you can see Russ better than last year by a long shot. And you have Javonte coming back. You have P. Ryan to fill in until then. I think Javonte Williams, once he comes back, is going to be a freak. From there, that receiving core, yes, you talk about the injuries they've had here lately, but there's one that is substantial that I don't feel like we've talked about, and it's Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims Jr. is going to easily come in and take that spot, and I could see him having an unreal year because he serves that purpose, like with in Seattle, as like Doug Baldwin did. He's your deep threat right there. But you got Judy, you got Sutton. I love that. And like Nick was saying, that defense it's legit. Frank Clark's there.
I forgot they got Frank Clark.
You got Frank Clark. You got Randy Gregory, Zach Allen. What we talked about earlier, but that's not even the biggest piece. You got Patrick Surtain.
That's a no.
He's good.
Patrick Surtain, like
Arguably the best DB in the league.
exactly. I think this team has so much more potential than being a 5-win team this year. I honestly have them making them. I have them winning. I
don't think Russell Wilson's good anymore.
I have them making the playoffs this year.
There's always one team that comes out of
Broncos.
nowhere.
I just like the
from
Broncos
last
roster.
season to this season.
And I just think with a legitimate culture built, because let's be real with ourselves, last year's culture was a complete waste. It was a mess.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So I think with an actual culture that this team is going to be able to show their true identity of a lockdown defense with an offense that is capable of moving the ball and competing with teams in the AFC West and in the AFC. Chargers, I have 10-7 and missing the playoffs. I think that this offense is loaded still, but I just think it came down to one game, and it's just I have nothing against the Chargers. It's just how I thought it would play out.
Week 1, they play the Dolphins.
Yes,
in
and
LA. That could actually decide like one of the wild cards.
Yeah.
It easily could. And it's something as simple as that. I like the Chargers team. I do. Like I said, me and Nick both think that they definitely have a Super Bowl talent.
They just can't stay on the field.
Yes. If that team stays healthy all year, I could see them being a Super Bowl team. I just see it.
For sure.
And then I'm on the same page here as Nick. I have the Raiders going 4-13. It would not surprise me if Josh McDaniels is gone by the end of the year.
No, he could be fired after 4 weeks.
Yes.
He's not a good head coach.
I'm not kidding.
Terrible.
I'm not kidding. I think
He was the only head coach to lose to Jets Saturday.
yeah.
That's so true, though. That's
I
really bad.
I don't see him doing. Especially with all this going on with Josh Jacobs, like that's a huge problem.
You guys think Josh Jacobs is actually going to play?
No, I don't.
I could see. I think he'll play.
I think he'll play.
I think he'll play, but I could see him not playing though too.
Yeah, after the year he just had, they don't want to pay him. Like, what are we doing? He's like what, 26? Yeah.
But I mean,
Led the league in yards and touchdowns last year. He was their entire offense.
Yeah.
I'm giving him some credit because like they got so many pieces I do like. Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, even though he's getting older. They drafted Tyree Wilson. I love Tyree Wilson. You got Trayvon Moehrig, but and obviously Devontae Adams. I just don't think there's much there. Oh, and
All flash, no substance. They don't
Yes.
perform well
It's
as
Vegas.
a cohesive unit. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I have Broncos and Chiefs making it to the playoffs out of this list.
Nice.
So you have the Chargers, you have the Ravens, and we have the Dolphins as the team that's really
odd
good,
man out.
but the
The
odd
odd
man out.
No, I have Chargers and Dolphins missing.
Oh yeah, because you have the Broncos. Okay, you have Chargers and
Oh, yeah.
Dolphins.
I only have
Because the Broncos.
I have
none
both
of us
of
have
them.
the Broncos.
Yeah, I have both of them missing by a game.
All right, well, that's our AFC predictions. Let us know what you think of our predictions. And then make sure to check out our NFC predictions as well to get our whole 2023 NFL season predictions. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.